You know, and I mean, recognition, I get recognition. You know, I play local gigs and people are like, oh, that was great, Sam, you know, and we're stoked. Love your stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I get a lot of that, which makes me feel great.
Maybe it was something I was meant to do. These folks round here, you know their juking days are through. I know they'll never forgive me. They'll never forgive me. No, 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 no. You see the drama just a sitting out by the roadside, just a looking like this good old favorite dog died. Yes I burned the juke joint down. Burn, yes I burned the juke joint.
Juke joint. A lot of people don't really know what that is. Juke joints were and still are. There are still juke joints, but the heyday of juke joints down south in places like Mississippi and Alabama and parts of Tennessee and such, juke joints were basically bars, you know, often located in little more than a shack out in the countryside, you know, maybe down some dirt road, and were generally patronized by, you know, people who were just working people, poor people. In Mississippi, for example, particularly, juke joints were where all the old bluesmen played, you know, on a Friday or Saturday night for drunken revelers and dancers. And, you know, people like Charlie Patton, just completely legendary names of the early blues, what we call the pre-war acoustic blues tradition. People like Robert Johnson is one of the most famous. Those guys played in juke joints, and they'd be really sort of low-rent bars, often really rough and tumble places, a lot of fighting and knifing and such, but also just a lot of partying and dancing. And a lot of these acoustic bluesmen, this is, you know, they didn't have mics and stuff. So a lot of these people, especially like Charlie Patton, developed this kind of voice, this kind of big voice that would cut like a knife through all these revelers and just banging on an acoustic guitar, you know, and stomping on the floorboards. So yeah, that's kind of what juke joints were. And so that song I wrote called Burned the Juke Joint Down is just some guy that just for no good reason burned the juke joint down. And ultimately he has to leave town because that was a very bad thing to do, to burn the juke joint down. Yeah.
Yes, I burned the juke joint down. Burn, yes, I burned the juke joint down. Honey, I burned the juke joint down. No, I burned, yes, I burned the juke joint. Burning right on down. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was born in 1957 in Birmingham, Alabama, which is in the deep south of the United States. And my earliest recollections of music, I guess, would be the radio early on. And so I started hearing stuff like by Otis Redding and Al Green and Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin and all those great, soul and R&B singers of the day. And so that was a big influence. At the same time, a little later, of course, country music was everywhere on the radio. And so, I discovered people like Merle Haggard and Hank Williams, kind of classic country art, Johnny Cash, George Jones, and Tammy Wynette, and all those people. So it was kind of a curious blend on the radio for me of country and Western, which was very white
and then the black end of the dial, which was clearly black. And they were quite segregated, but they were both at least there and available to listen to. So somehow I kind of came up with those things. And then, of course, just a little bit later, coming into my teens, as typical for most Americans anywhere, it was the sort of, British invasion, and also Southern rock was big. I was a huge Allman Brothers fan. So those were some of my earliest influences, all pretty much coming from the radio. I already knew I wanted to be a drummer when I was 7 and heard Ringo. I knew I wanted to be a drummer. I wanted a drum set, and I was banging on pots and pans when I was a kid. And I was on drums. I finally got a drum kit. My dad relented and bought me a drum kit when I was about 15. I'd been wanting one since I was like 7. He finally bought me one. It took forever. He said, "Look, I'll buy you a drum kit, but you can't play it when I'm in the house." He said, "You come home from school, you can play your drums. The minute I get back from work, that's it. I don't want to hear it." So I used to come back home from school and just, immediately drop my books or whatever and run up to my room and put on headphones with like an Allman Brothers record or something and just play the drums until my dad came. And then I had to stop. Well, here we are in my studio. I've got a lot of instruments here, as you can see. Let's just grab a few. One of these, I love these Japanese bongos. They're made by a company called Nishimura. Very old company, and it's a very curious thing. They're absolutely not Latin type bongos. They're very homespun Japanese design, very interesting, and they sound great. Really nice, huh? Let's see what else we got here. We got some of these drums. I got this one when I was 17. It's a Native American drum. I bought it on the Hopi Indian Reservation. I think that was Arizona, maybe New Mexico. Beautiful drum. Still sounds great. This one is from Central Africa, maybe Uganda.
these drums are interesting. This is very old. It's probably from the 1920s. These drums were used in early trap sets, early drum sets in America. They were imported from China. And if you look at old pictures of drum sets being played in the 1920s, 1930s, in early jazz and so forth, you'll see these kind of tack head drums. Here's another one. They were always painted with dragons or something like that, you know. This one is extremely old. These tacks are hand hammered. This one's probably worth a lot of money if I ever wanted to sell it. This is a monkey. Now here's an interesting instrument. This was this is called a boobam. As you can see, it's a piece of bamboo that's been carved and split to a certain extent, and there's a hole drilled in it. And it's a percussion instrument. So let me demonstrate it for you. Very interesting thing. You can change the pitch by putting your hand, your fingers and thumbs over this thing. So you got. Pretty cool, huh? I got these 3 baskets. These are all full of percussion. I'm a great lover of percussion. There's a bunch of jar lids. You can use this kind of stuff in recordings mostly, like this kind of stuff. Got these spoons. Corn. Sleigh bells. This is a kind of Japanese percussion instrument that's used, I think, up in the north of Honshu, the main island of Japan, and the dancers use it. And it's just kind of a clacker, enamel or lacquer. Sorry, lacquer. A lacquer clacker. I never thought of that. And then you got like, I love cheap stuff like this. Like, yeah, this is kind of stuff from Hyakuin stores, 100 yen stores. This kind of stuff comes in very handy for recording. Yeah, so all these notebooks and all these notebooks represent years and years of songwriting. And we're going way back here because actually within the last, I guess within the last 5 years or more, I've strictly been writing songs on the iPad. So this is all stuff that's older than that. It's rare that I even go back to any of this because most anything that was any good got, you know, recorded and put into the repertoire. So when I look at these now, it's pretty interesting because I look back at, my sloppy handwriting, which I don't even see anymore because I don't really write this stuff by hand anymore. But in order to keep track of all this stuff, look at that, I wrote like, "What is this?" You get some kind of notes about like what to do on the 3-string. It's like, what is this? But I would normally write, a P and circle it in red, which meant it's printed, it's written, it's down, it's in the iPad, it's a score, finished. This song is called Virginia Ham. It actually appears on a record I made with a guitar player named Kuroda Daisuke. We made a record under the band name Bennett Kuroda. It's called As Luck Would Have It. So one of the songs is Virginia Ham. So this is this was when I first wrote it, just lyrics. It says, "There's two kinds of people in the world, me and everyone else, but we're all just whistling Dixie while the polar ice cap melts. Everybody's got their pet peeve. Everybody's baling hay. Everybody got somewhere to be a week from Saturday."
There's two kinds of people in the world, me and everyone else. Yeah. But we're all just whistling Dixie while the polar ice cap melts. Everybody got their little problems. Everybody's baling hay. Everybody got somewhere better to be a week from Saturday. And it makes no sense how happy I am. 'Cause in fact I'm just the feeling nobody gave a drag. I'm on the road to ruin, sure as my name is Sam. And I'm headed for New Jersey. I got to buy me a Virginia.
I like to play the squeezy pigs. So, like. And they're all different, so you get a lot of different sounds from these things, like. I fell in love with a Japanese woman. And when we met in 1993 on one of my tours, we became friends at first. And then little by little, we were pen pals and we would send faxes. And she came to New York a couple of times. And we decided, we realized we were actually falling in love. It was kind of gradual. So when we finally realized, oh gosh, we should be together, it was pretty clear at that point that I should move here as opposed to she should move to New York. Going forward from now in Japan, first of all, I'm definitely planning on staying in Japan. I have no plans to move back to the USA at any time. There's just a whole lot of compelling reasons for me to stay here in Japan. I've pretty much been here for, well, 30 years. Longest I ever lived in any one place in my life. Spent my first 20 years in Birmingham, Alabama, then about 8 or 9 in Boston, and then about 11 or 12 in New York City, Brooklyn, and now 30 years in Japan. So 30 years in Tokyo. As a matter of fact, 30 years in the same apartment, which I never would have imagined I could say, being, you know, typically modern person who moves every few years, you know. But I've been here in the same place in my humble little neighborhood of Higashi Nippori for 30 years, and I don't see myself as ever leaving. I'll probably be cremated right here in Tokyo.
I need to talk to you. I got some new ideas. From now on, I'm only gonna speak in Chinese onomatopoeias. And my jokes won't have any punchlines, just only the setup. I'll set an alarm for 5 a.m., but I ain't gonna get up. I'm gonna go right back to sleep until 5:02. But first I need to talk to you. Need to talk to you. I need to bend your ear and cry on your shoulder. 'Cause things haven't gotten any easier, even though I've gotten older. Got a noisy engine that backfires as I drive down the boulevard, and everything else is falling apart all around me. Life done got hard, and I used to count myself among the lucky few. I need to talk to you. Need to talk to you. The waitress came and took away my drink, but I wasn't quite finished with that. A sudden gust of wind came up and blew away my favorite hat. I chased it all the way to Spain. It landed in Madrid. And some drunk bullfighter stabbed it full of holes. I swear he did. I know it all sounds crazy, nonetheless it's true. I need to talk to you.